they think they own everything. And some guys pull up and told us there's no hunting on this land over there. And I was like, well, based on this map, this is timber company land. This is not your land. Your land borders it, and you're over the line with this stuff. You know, and they were like riding their four-wheeler around, like hollering and stuff in the afternoons. And it made you feel like you were trespassing, but you're not.
Yeah, they put no hunting signs on the gate while we were in there hunting and just kept riding up and down the roads and doing all this stuff. And then, Jason, you went and caught him again to go talk to him, be like, hey, what's going on here?
I was like, well, if I throw a mic on, then I can help others the way that these people have all helped me.
Born in the heart of the Pennsylvania deer camp. With the help of experts, friends, and local legends, we bring you valuable knowledge and powerful stories for your hunting adventures. Welcome to the East Meets West Hunt Podcast with your host, Beau Martonik.
All right, we're good. We're live. Guys, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us.
Yes, it's a pleasure being on here, Beau.
Jason always has to start it with a smart ass comment.
Always, yeah. True in Jason
like
fashion.
that he's really excited to be here talking.
Oh yeah, he loves it. He loves it.
So for everybody listening, to my right here, we've got a new guest. We've got Ryan Luckadoo on the podcast, and then on the other side, of course, we got Jason Red from Timber Ninja down there. So we're sharing deer camp together. This is the first time that that I've hunted with you guys. You guys hunt together a decent amount, but yeah, it's been cool. A mobile deer camp.
Yeah, we moved around a bunch so far.
Yeah, I think we've set this thing up 3 times.
Yep. We're about to move it again and break it, open her back up again.
Yeah. What is this camper exactly? A Flyer Discover? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's made by a company called Intech. Mm-hmm. And it's the Flyer Discover, I believe is what it's called.
Okay.
It's really cool for doing this kind of stuff. It's a toy hauler camper that has tents that fold out the side and a kitchen and has heat and Starlink and a awning. But yeah, you can haul side-by-side, four-wheeler, whatever.
Yeah, it's like it has enough of things, but not too much. Where sometimes campers just have too much stuff going on. Where this is like comfortable sleeping quarters, got a little camp kitchen there, the fridge, and heat.
The heat's clutch.
Yeah.
As I get older, I get weaker, I guess.
Softer.
Yeah,
I say smarter.
Smarter. Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, that's what I was telling Ryan. I said, mainly I'll hunt by myself, and I just slept in the back of my truck or in a small tent, and I'd be sitting at, no awning or something, just be sitting by myself at a table at night, just listening to music, freezing, full puffy. Yeah, rainy days, it's real nice to have, but it's been pretty sweet. You can get one a little bit bigger, I think, that has a toilet, but there's no way I would want a toilet in here. This thing stinks bad enough after this week.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll gag you right now. I'd gag a maggot.
7 days, 2 sweaty guys hunting. It's rough in there.
No showers.
No showers, yeah.
Yeah. I guess the deer didn't care somehow.
No.
Yeah, I saw one right here at camp yesterday when we come in.
Nice.
Yeah, the scent control thing's always rough, because I there's no way I can be scent free in these types of situations, Mm-hmm. And I don't think I got winded by a deer all week.
Really?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's almost impossible when you don't have a shower and stuff to be able to do it. That's kind of what I just threw it out the window on this trip. I take it more serious if I'm at home, and I shouldn't say serious, but like a little better. Mm-hmm. Like my clothes are washed and scent free stuff. Every once in a while I might spray myself down, little scent wafers like we talked about on the podcast with Nathan, who takes it a lot more serious than we do. But
Nathan would scold me if he smelt my boots this week. Between getting wet and sweaty and everything, he would get on to me.
Oh, I'm sure he will now once he hears this on the podcast, and he'll text you.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's just play in the wind. You know?
It's hard in some
try
of
your
those
best.
spots, man. Like it's when you get in some of those bowls where the deer are at and everything. I don't care what you do. It's hard. It's just you're gonna have thermal tsunamis everywhere.
Yeah. And they work in your favor too. That is the weird thing about this place. It's the first time I've ever hunted country like this, and it was interesting with the thermals in some of those bowls. It just lifted right out of there, like especially on a calm day. So like you would think it would be swirling in there, but it was actually just lifting out.
Yeah, and that's where, like, when I talk about hunting creek bottoms in Pennsylvania a lot, everyone's like, you can't hunt creek bottoms in, like, the bottom of, like, a thermal hub, basically. It's like you swirl, but the conditions I go in there are cold, calm mornings. It's just, everything just rises, especially when you have a little bit of, like, an opening or something there. It just seems like everything goes up. Now, when I was talking to Alan Altizer, he told me something that kind of conflicted with my thoughts on it. He said your scent goes up and then it falls and it just sits there on the ground and kind of like, I don't know. It gives me confidence when I see it going up. So
yeah. I mean, I had a lot of deer walk under me.
You did.
And I mean, like literally. And you always think you're gonna get busted. I mean, I pee out of the stand. I do all these things, and I don't know. Sometimes you get lucky, maybe. I don't know, but like. The deer may not be that pressured too, but, so that doesn't seem fair, but up here, but
I don't know. I think there's a little bit of luck involved when it happens, and sometimes maybe they just don't care.
I mean, I had a doe earlier in the week walk right up to the bottom of the tree and sniff my bottom stick, and then just meandered off like no big deal. So
it's been an interesting week, a fun week, a lot of other shit, for lack of better terms, that we've went through on this hunt.
It's been it's been an experience.
Yes, this is definitely
a little bit of everything.
Definitely been an experience. So to kind of give a little background here, for anyone that's listened to the podcast before knows that. When I've come to West Virginia, I used to have a lease a while ago, and then I didn't. And then I got on another one last year, so a piece of private coal ground to be able to hunt. And last year I only hunted it for one day, and I just I need to learn it more, need to kind of figure out. It's a mixture of reclaimed coal mines and steep timbered, like you'd see anywhere else in the mountains, oak ridges and a bunch of different hardwood trees like that. But just recently, Jason, you were able to pick one up with the crew of us here that butted up against the one that I already had. So a mutual friend of ours that helped us out, David Miller, with it, and it was it was pretty cool to be able to get that where we could all hunt together and go to a camp, because there's a couple of things. At least this is how I look at it when it comes to leases, because I obviously hunt majority of public in places. I've hunted private, I've hunted outfitted, I've hunted a mixture of everything that's out there, and honestly I like all of it for their own ways, but I just like to be able to explore. But we're able to have enough ground here. There's other people that are hunting it too. It's not totally mutually exclusive, but it gives you room to still be able to figure out a deer. The thing I've always hated about private and like small chunks is like you're controlled to this small section where you're at, where we have enough acreage here that they can still obviously go off the property, but
well, and it just gives you, I mean, like you, I do a lot of different things, and I prefer traveling around, being a nomad, hunting public, but I have my son's 16, and like I really enjoyed having that deer camp experience when I was a kid. Like going to deer camp and be able to ride 4-wheelers when you went hunting as a kid, and it was just fun. And I wanted to do that, but also like wanted a place for us to have, like for Timber Ninjas, so we could go do team hunts and do things like this. And we thought you wouldn't have any type of conflict. You can just go wherever you want to go, but it's really cool up here, though. It's really nice.
It's special, man. It's a beautiful area, and also like the other reason when you're saying about like the team hunts and stuff, when we're filming or doing things, it's so hard to do that. Well, some places you're not even able to on public, and other places you don't want to spotlight it or hotspot anything. And it's no matter how hard you try, it can be difficult. So this gives us the opportunity that we can do stuff, and we can do our our product testing, our video stuff, things like that, and not have to worry about that as much.
Yeah, and also, I mean, some product testing, I'm gonna have like ground blinds and lock-ons and tripods all over this place.
We already got several already set up for us.
No, yeah, and we picked up some more land too from our new buddy we met.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we did a little bit of trading permissions on different places. So opening it up.
Looking forward to it. It's been a fun. It's fun. The camp's always fun.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it definitely is. And speaking of the product stuff, do you have the prototypes here, or did you pack them up already?
They're just sitting in my bag.
Okay, I'm gonna grab them real quick. All right, so before we get into more of the hunt stuff and a little bit about the lease here, we were talking about product testing, and these are a couple products. One that I've teased about for a while, and I'm praying that the time this goes out that these are live, but it may be a few weeks after, but it'll be soon.
Yeah, they're in transit.
So, I guess Jason, let's start with you. What do you got going on over there?
So Beau and I guess we started talking about the boot covers like one of our first podcasts together, I think.
Yeah.
And, I mean, really how it breaks down is, Timber Ninja has always, in my eyes, been like an innovation solution-based company. How we came up with the carbon fiber climbing sticks was because I wanted a set of lighter sticks for myself, so I made my own. So everything we've done has been stuff that we just want. It's not really trying to chase market trends or competition. But two of the things that I always wanted in a soft goods perspective is I love wearing a hand warmer. I hate wearing gloves. Also, I've got certain things that I use a lot of, like, during a rut hunt, I've got my grunt call, I've got my phone, I've got, milkweed, powder, snacks, all that stuff. So I want something to store. So, so we this year started working on a hand warmer, and it's we've had a few editions of it, but came down to the last one. And what you see in the video here is not our final color. This is a lighter green than what the actual production is, but it's a neoprene based outer material. The pockets are angled up, so like if you're sitting in a saddle, or I wear it with my backpack, I wear it gun hunting in the saddle, in the tree, on the ground, all of it. But the entry holes are angled up, and it's fleece lined inside, and you got adjustable cuffs. Because sometimes you wear gloves, and still you want to open them up, because a lot of the hand warmers that I've used before, they're all fixed elastic, and it's just like they're always too hard to get your hand in. And what you'll find out too is especially when they get wet, it's even harder to get your hand in there. So we made the cuffs adjustable. Also on the back we have laser cut molly, and we have these T-clip little attachments here, and so you have two options. You've got a set of T-clips that have carabiners, so you can clip into the molly on your saddle or into your lineman's loops, or you can take those out and put in just a traditional waistband.
Yep.
So it wanted to be versatile. On top, you have a waterproof zipper top pocket. It's orange on the inside with fleece, so you could pretty much put like a little small water bottle in there. You could put all types of things in that big pocket. And then on the front, you have this cool little accessory pouch, kind of like a fanny pack thing. And it's got a magnetic closing top. And on the inside, it's orange and fleece. And you've got an outer pocket here. And then you got another slash pocket with some elastic in there to divide it out. And then, but it's so quiet. And this whole thing is super quiet. And it's actually, I hunted in the rain for, how many hours were we in the rain the other day?
Like, a good 5 hours.
A good 5 hours in the rain.
Hard
and
rain.
It's still not wet. The only reason it is wet is because my hands kept going in there. And then when I was wearing my rain suit, the water was just kind of dripping down. But I never felt it break through. So this is going to be part of our Frostline
Frostline
series.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so the neoprene, what's cool about that is, think about it, it's in waders and everything. So it's highly water resistant as it is, and it is windproof.
Yes.
So you don't feel the wind cutting through, and it's so soft on the inside when you put your hands in there. It just feels good to be able to have. And also that front pocket, when we were first designing it, or you were going through the first iteration of the design, that's when my buddy Gary was like, hey, I want to, he's like, you guys should come out with something that's a hand warmer pocket, but it's got like an accessory pouch on the front to put your grunt tube. If you have a small set of binos like the B3s, you know, like at the end of the hunt, for me, I'm like taking layers off to go out, and you got your binos on. It's like, where do you put them so you don't lose them? Like all those things that I have around my neck or my rangefinder can go in that.
Yeah.
And so that you have it all there. Then once you put your layers on, you can take it out and put them on.
Yeah, you can put your release, all that stuff. No, it's a cool piece of kit. And the cool thing about neoprene, too, is it packs up pretty solid. I mean, it is, you know, it's a bigger hand warmer, but it does pack up very well. I've really enjoyed it. I'm super stoked about that item, which, you know, now our brain's churning, so you may see other items come out in the Frostline series.
Yeah, we've got, definitely some other ideas. And then the one that everyone's been waiting on is the boot cover. So this one here, again, is not the absolute final of production, but it's pretty close as far as with a lot of things here. So went with the same thing with the neoprene because it is quiet and highly water resistant. The only reason why I wouldn't call it waterproof is because there are spots where if it's soaked for a while, but you've run it under running water, you've wore it in the rain while we've been hunting and everything, and it does not get wet, and it's windproof. So you can do that with less insulation and be able to keep the warmth that is in there.
Yeah, I mean, with that hand warmer, like I've been in like, so far I think the coldest temps I've been in is like in the mid 20s or so, and literally my hands, you know, no gloves, nothing, are sweating. I have to take them out every once in a while just because it's just like, it stays that warm and it's that windproof. And those boot covers, they're the same, man. They turned out really well. So.
Yeah, and so like when you think of like the problems with the other boot covers that are out there, one of them is bulk, and another one is hard to be able to put on, and just being clunky and not using, you know, modern materials for that stuff. So the one thing that's really hard to get away from is bulk.
Yeah.
Because you don't want it to be super tight on your boot, because then you don't want it to be basically cinched up, and you want air pockets in there to help it stay warm. But we were able to do this. It looks a little bit bigger, but it rolls up super small, and actually you can put one inside the other one, take it. You can take this little elastic, wrap it around there. Fits nice. You can take the buckles, attach them to each other, hang them on the outside of your bag. Bunch of different options for it. And then inside the toe box is a spot to put a hand warmer. So if you want to put like a chemical hand warmer in there to help trap the heat. Because the whole purpose of a boot cover is essentially to trap the heat that you've generated walking in. So you can wear uninsulated boots or lightly insulated boots and stay warm in cold temperatures with it. So the difference too, this one goes across the top. So there's you can see how it folds back like this for anybody watching the video version. You step your foot down into it, slide it on, pull it up, and then when you put it over, then you put these buckles on the top there, and then they pull towards the top of your foot so that you can get tension on it if you want to close it up. And then kind of an optional option, but to really trap the heat, there's a little button snap that you can put there, and then a cinch cord to keep everything in there. The bottom of it is we wanted to have something that was insulated on the bottom too, so that when you're on the platform, that's where you lose a lot of heat from it. So this has a foam in it?
Yeah, it has a foam, like, let's call it an insole.
Yeah.
To help with that. And then
the bottom here is tough. So if you were walking on a saddle platform, or it's not meant to hike in the woods with it, but as far as like anything that's metal or sharp, it's abrasion resistance for that. And same on the front with the Hypalon material that you'll see on some of our saddles and other things.
Yeah. It looks, I mean, yeah, it's real modern. It's definitely something. I mean, you know, for me, I just got to a point, like I used to wear a lot of insulated boots, but, as far as we have to hike a lot of times, like your feet get sweatier, and that makes them get colder, right?
Yep.
And so I try to wear as light as a boot as I can, and there's never been a good solution for boot covers. The best ones I ever had was a buddy of mine that was a SEAL team guy. They had a pair of Outdoor Research made some specifically for them when they were essentially in Afghanistan and in Humvee rides because it was so cold in there. And they were real big and bulky, but they were real nice, but they wouldn't pack up very well, and they were loud because they had a Velcro closure on them. But that's by far the best one I've seen before we came out with these. And these are somewhat modeled after those. But theirs was like 500D Cordura too, so that kind of made it loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some of the early prototypes we did of those, we tried to go with like a wind blocker material. And when you were testing them in Canada, you called me or you texted me, like, hey, dude, these things are loud. And I was like, huh? And it was in the summer or September. And so I had some at the house, and I went and put them in the freezer for a full day and pulled them out. And they, they were loud.
Oh, yeah. They when they got cold, they had a crinkle to them. Like you'd open up like...
Yeah.
Like you're opening up a wrapper of a candy bar.
Yeah.
And, so, and then, I mean, neoprene, this was definitely the solution for us because it solved the wind blocking problem in a lighter weight material that's quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm happy with how they turned out,
And this is also, again, not the correct color. It'll be a darker green, close to what you see from our saddles and stuff there. But that's pretty excited about these. This has been by far the most asked product because I've been teasing it for longer than I probably should have. Because I always think that we can get something done faster than it takes to launch a product. It takes a lot longer, but I do know that, like I said, I'm not sure when this comes out if these will be available yet. But if they are, they're going to be available for limited quantities this year. We rushed some to get some for late season.
Yeah.
So make sure you're checking that out over on the Timber Ninja website and sign up for the email newsletter there. But going back to the hunt and the lease and stuff. So. Again, some of the other we talked about the reasoning for wanting a lease and going through that. Now, some challenges that come along with that. So, Jason, have you ever been, or Ryan, have you guys ever been on a lease before?
Yeah, I have. As a kid, my grandfather was in one for a little bit, like paper company land down in South Arkansas, and then I was in one in Ohio with one of my customers one time. And the kid one was fun, but with the customer, it was like 10 guys, 1,200 acres. So, so the drama you get with leases, you know what I mean? Like people not doing their work or not going by the rules, and then you got all these strict rules and all that stuff, and it just wasn't a good fit. I'm glad we were able to do this the way we did, so we can kind of make our own rules.
Yeah,
or at least we think.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see how that goes. But every time that I've been a part of a lease or done anything, there's always just some sort of drama that comes with it, or someone wants this spot, or
I've never been on a lease, and I think that's the main reason why that I never have is I never wanted to get involved with that. I've heard a lot of those stories with they've claimed that spot is theirs and don't dare go in there.
Yeah, and also you can, and I've seen it like in Pennsylvania and other places of like, sometimes people decide that they get on leases because they just want to do illegal stuff, and they think that they can get away with it because there's posted signs that are on the outside, which is not the case. You still got to follow all the same game laws. And to be able to do that. Now, the nice thing is like access, like you can use a e-bike or a four-wheeler or whatever to get into places so much easier. That helps helps a ton. And it's funny, leases are something that I don't like the concept of it a lot, but it's kind of one of those things that you can either complain about it, or if you want to have that experience of having, I'm trying to think of the best way to word this. So here's where I say I don't like leases. Growing up, we had a ton of timber company properties and everything that was just open to public hunting. And as things got more expensive, taxes and stuff on the properties, and hunting just became, people wanted to shoot bigger deer, and they realized if you can put posted signs up, you can grow bigger deer and have that opportunity. Well, we lost a lot of that land. Most of the land, like my dad grew up hunting on, and me as a kid, to leases. So for a while, I was, very anti-lease because of that. But at the same time, it's like, it's not going away. So you can either complain about it or, I don't know, maybe my mindset's completely off, but that's kind of how I've looked at it.
Yeah, no, I think it's super cool. The habitat management gears really start turning when I've been walking around this place. I've never had something that we can just go and do it. I've always worked with landowners and it's their property, but now that we've got this, I think it'd be really cool to come up here and have a little fun with things, change it up.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely.
Put a bunch of Lucky Buck out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and you can bait.
Yeah.
Put some deer cocaine out.
Yeah.
That is one thing here in West Virginia on private land. You can put out bait, which is different from hunting on public when I was talking about game laws. But it's funny that other than mineral sites, since I've been, when I was on a lease before and stuff, I'd never put like corn out or anything, because it was just like trying to manage it, and like, because if you don't live here to be able to
it's not even
out,
worth it if you don't live here.
Yeah, and if you put a feeder out, bears will destroy it right away.
Oh yeah.
But like I've talked to people that have leases and they use corn and stuff, and we kind of talked about, we really didn't want to, if we did put some corn out, we wouldn't really be hunting over corn, right? Because the reason I say that, it's like you talk to people that, and I've talked to folks in Ohio and at home and up here, and they all say the same thing, is like, if you don't have corn, the deer are going to be on the people's place that has the corn, because they get, trained on it, I guess. But I'm not a huge fan of just like hunting over the top of it. I mean, you can cut them off going to it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's different. I don't know,
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I've never had anything against corn other than the fact that I feel like some people rely on it too much, and you lose the woodsmanship skills of it to just always just go sit over. That's my only gripe with it to begin with.
There's also no nutritional benefit whatsoever in corn, right?
Yeah.
It's just filling them up. They enjoy it. It tastes good to them, but there's no nutritional benefit.
Yeah.
It's like just putting out like a big box of pizza for everybody.
Well, at least pizza has some nutritional content. It'd be like trying to live a week off of popcorn.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. See how far that gets you.
Yeah, that's very true. So that's a kind of a newer thing. I remember the one time that I had access to some private ground in Ohio years ago, and I was like, oh man, they can bait there. I went and I got myself a bag of some sort of thing that had big graphics on the front that was like a deer feed bag, and I'm like, pour that out and be like, here we go, where the buck's at. And it didn't necessarily work that way. And also learning that all the neighbors are putting out like truckloads of corn, so that you can't compete with that.
Yeah. In North Carolina, I know people that have some leases and up in the mountains there, and they put out so much corn, but also apples. Like they buy like truckload of apples and dump those out. Yeah. I mean, the problem, even if you're doing that, you're in areas like this or back home that are highly populated with bear. The bear come in and just take it over too,
Yeah. Yeah, that's 100% for certain. But the other thing so with leases, some of the conflicts stuff that we happen to get this lease in the middle of hunting season.
Yeah.
Definitely didn't help.
No, definitely
the case.
Yeah.
So one of you guys kind of want to explain kind of what's to start, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as we got here, like people like rolled up on us on the first night, like asking who we were, like locals, and we told them, and had to go through all this. I don't know how many times we had to explain the situation. And some of them have been really cool. Like we've met 4 or 5 people here that, I really enjoy talking to and trust, and they're good people, and they have land nearby, and they're managing the deer on it. And, they were very forthcoming with information about, what deer they had on camera, and just, they were really cool. But then you got some people, and you hear from the other locals that they think they own everything. And so we ran into a situation like this where part of our lease, Ron and I went and scouted it, and we found a ground blind and a big bait site, and inside the ground blind he had like 5 cans of Tink 69 spray aerosols. So I guess the dude's just sitting there smoking that thing out with that stuff. I bet he smells like a goat, man.
like me right now.
Yeah, fair. So we found that, and we're like, okay, we've been told that locals just kind of hunt, this type of coal land, but then it goes from the coal and it gets essentially bonded out to a timber company, and that's what we did. And when this happens, I guess that's how David picks up his leases, because he has a relationship with timber company, and they go in and start posting it. Well, we saw a posted sign on this gate when we went in, and we go back in this spot and we're scouting, and we see cattle on it, and I was like, wow, what's going on here? And there's like all these 4-wheeler trails. So I was like, all right, whatever, we'll figure that out. Well, then we come back that night to camp, and some guys pull up and told us there's no hunting on this land over there. And I was like, well, based on this map, this is timber company land. This is not your land. Your land borders it, and you're over the line with this stuff. This is not your land. They're like, no, we've owned this for 50 years. So, I couldn't argue with them. You know what I mean? Like, yep. So, we put people, we got in contact with people to talk to them, and then we talked to locals that knew, and they've had some problems with these same people. And like even to the point where they keep moving their fence on other property owners' property, like a little deeper every couple of years, they said. So, yeah, I mean, we had like two different altercations with them over that. And like, I'm not going to get in a fight over this, and, being mid-season and new, like, I do know that when these types of transactions happens, you go through a rough period, right? Where you got to work it out. It's different, like if you have an established lease and just turn it over to somebody else. But when you're coming in taking over new ground, I think there's always going to be some type of conflict. But it was a pretty negative experience, to the point where like we were over there hunting. Like I was on a really good buck over there. Ryan was seeing good bucks over there. You were over there with us. But it almost, and they were like riding their 4-wheeler around, like hollering and stuff in the afternoons. And it made you feel like you were trespassing, but you're not,
Yeah, they put no hunting signs on the gate while we were in there hunting, and just kept riding up and down the roads and doing all this stuff. And then, Jason, you went and caught him again to go talk to him, be like, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah. I like jumped out of my stand when I heard him coming by, because it was just going on constantly. And I ran down there and finally caught him. And I was like, what's going on? And he's like, there's no hunting here. And I was like, I know it's posted. It's posted by us. And he's like, I've owned this for 50 years. And I was like, well, here's the map. Like, we've got so much technology. I had, my Spartan Forge and had it downloaded, and I showed him the property lines, and I was like, well, if this is your land, you're not paying taxes on this piece.
Yeah.
Because your piece is 250 acres. This little block here is 400.
Yeah.
So you're paying taxes on 200, but you're using 600, essentially.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. But I don't know. It was a really awkward guy to talk to. I'm not going to lie. And I just said, you know what? I'm not going to sit here and end up getting into a gunfight over something like this. We take the precautions, and we, got in contact with people and essentially let, DNR handle it,
Yeah.
So hopefully we get it worked out, it's going to get worked out, but then it's like, okay, you're going to be dealing with some drama for the rest of the time you're out here with these people, like I even, we talked about this, like I don't even care if they keep their cows on it. Just don't be hunting it.
Yeah, no, I know. That's it 100%. And it's just, it feels like it's going to be a long road. I don't know what the result of that's going to be, which is unfortunate, but it's, because it's awesome ground.
It is. It lays so nice.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, it kind of has this like Kansas mountain country feel. You know what I mean? Like kind of like the Flint Hills if they were taller.
Yeah, definitely. It's with all the pine trees in there.
Yeah, like small pine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's such a cool place. But yeah, that experience and that encounter was just, I don't know, I just felt like anxious for days here. Like, man, I feel like we're doing something wrong, but we're not. We've confirmed with the land company the boundaries. They had the maps, but they just won't listen. But you can't, again, you can be like, oh, we're going to do that. But is a deer really worth getting shot over or having?
Yeah.
'Cause you just don't know.
I'm sure a lot of people watching and listening would agree. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
In some cases.
Yeah, man. I mean,
but it's not.
People get personal about that stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, just kind of like this week, we were on some good deer, and we were, trifecting them. We had a 3-way approach to trying to kill them because, like, I don't care. I want to see somebody else be successful.
Yep,
absolutely.
And that's the main thing about doing some of this too, is like bringing kids out here to hunt and giving them good success and like having a good experience to create good influences in the hunting industry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's a weird feeling. But and also like how quick. Well, let me back up. There's also this huge dynamic in areas, and it doesn't matter where you're at. A lot of people don't like out-of-staters or out-of-towners. Even out-of-towners. Like if you're not even up in the mountains, where we're from and here, there's holler conflict. You don't come in my holler. You know what I mean? So they really don't like when there's somebody like us bebops in here. And it's just been funny, like, some of the locals we've met that have been coming out and hanging out are like, man, the word spread about you guys being up here.
Walk in the town up here on the mountain.
Yeah, they're like those out-of-staters are up there. They have a camper and everything.
Squatters.
They're squatting up there.
Yeah.
That's what they were saying. I was like, man, that's wild. But it is kind of the same way like where I grew up in a small town where growing up I remember hearing it be like, oh, here comes all the people from Pittsburgh that are coming up to hunt. They'll be in their orange jumpsuits from head to toe, and here they come. They're going to come up and shoot all our deer, and it was just like that was kind of the mentality with it. So I get all of that, and under the same breath, we've had some really rough experiences with some people, but we've had some really positive ones.
Yeah,
more so positive.
More so, yeah.
I mean, it's 80% positive, 20% negative.
Yeah,
and like these people that we became friends with, like they're excited to see this land get leased because there's a lot of poaching that happens in here. Like people do road hunting, and especially these blocks that aren't posted and like leased or bought. Mm-hmm. Like people kind of use it as free access until you start posting it and putting pressure on them, getting them out. And they're excited because it's just going to help everybody, and the cool thing about these guys too, it's like, hey, they're like, we'll watch everything, one, our buddy that we just made, we're letting him hunt on here, and he's going to start watching this property now, and he's excited about it. He literally rides around every night when he gets off work.
Yep. Yeah, which is
the lease came with a guard dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a guard dog.
Yeah,
awesome guy.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I thought he handled things so well, and he didn't need to for the standpoint of like literally we leased the place that he was hunting and had his stands at, and he's had a lot of history there, and he was very polite to all of us and was like, hey, it is what it is. It's not your guys' fault. You didn't know that, and was just like I respected that because that there's a lot of others that wouldn't feel that way.
Oh, dude, the first night we met him, it was pretty interesting. Like the spots that he scouted were some of his best spots. And I told him, I was like, hey, I found a tree stand there. He's like, yep, it's mine. And he's like, there's another one over there. And I was like, yeah, it's another spot I have marked to go look. Yeah. And he was like, hey, man, I'll get them out after you're gone in a week. He's like, hunt them if you want to. He showed me the pictures of the deer that were coming through there. Like just a really salt of the earth dude,
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. That's the way I would be with somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's been awesome. He was up here at camp last night hanging out with us, and that's been really good. And yeah, I think we've met all the other landowners that butt up against the property, and all the rest have been they might start off a little bit like, who are you guys? And after you get talking, then everything's good.
Yeah. No, it's been a good experience. I mean, we'll probably have a few bumps in the road, but I think long term it'll be worth it. I mean, there's great quality deer here. I mean, habitat's wonderful. I mean, I've seen so many rabbits. I haven't seen this many rabbits since I was a kid.
Yeah.
An amount of woodcock. Like, how many woodcock have we seen?
In the teens. I mean, close to 20 maybe.
Yeah. And then, Beau, you saw a grouse.
Yeah.
And there's turkey here. There's bear. Like
Tons of bear.
Yeah. And there's good age structure on the deer. You know, like these places are super thick, man. Like bucks can definitely get old for sure.
Yeah. And they definitely
They don't cross the road.
If they don't cross the road. Yeah.
Stay away from the road.
Yeah. It's I'll be interested to see. It's just nice to have a place to be able to go to and camp out and have a, deer camp sort of deal. Hopefully we get some of these other things worked out in the future, but I feel good about it otherwise.
Yeah. Did we ever come up with a name? I said Timberlatcha, but nobody liked that. Camp Timberlatcha.
It'll earn its name.
Yeah,
here
exactly.
Soon. It'll come. It'll just pop out of the blue. Like that's what we're naming it. That's perfect.
Yeah. So, all right. Yeah, I wanted to cover that a little bit to talk about the idea of leases and just give our experiences with it. I'm sure the people listening being like, oh yeah, no matter what state you're in, you run into that kind of stuff and dealing with it. But yeah, we got some challenges, some conflict here.
Yeah.
I honestly think we might have had a couple of other bucks down if we could have still hunted that other property.
Yeah, we should. Yeah.
And I mean, that's what we decided, we just pulled all of our sets out in there. We'd been sitting in there for a couple days and decided, it's not worth going back in there. So we transferred over to the other side of the lease where we had already scouted a little bit.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, that definitely. And yeah.
It was really hard leaving though. I mean, I saw two really, really good bucks. Beau saw one of them.
Yeah.
Ryan saw, I don't know how many bucks, in that spot
Yeah, I was
in.
I was down in the buck nest for sure.
Yeah, and it was hard to leave, but I was like, you know what? Just show a good line, good gesture.
You texted us via satellite message that the iPhone has where you get in satellite message because there's no service anywhere here.
Yeah.
And you texted us and you're like, you should get out here. And I'm like,
yeah,
is he held at gunpoint?
Held hostage up at camp.
And I'm like, everything good? And you're like, it's confusing. And I'm like, man, is someone telling him to type these things? Like, is this guy holding him being like...
Yeah, I mean, I left my set in the tree and was down and was headed up to get Beau. And then we got to camp and, figured everything out. And then I was kind of butthurt that I had to go back in there and pull my set out. But
yeah. I mean, if I would have been hog-tied or something, it takes Beau 45 minutes to break down his tree stand.
Well, I was like, if he's in that much danger, then he should just say it. Because otherwise, I'm going to take my shit down and get out.
I mean, let's just be clear. I was not going to be in danger.
Yeah.
He's going to come up here and they're going to be laying in a pool of blood. You know what I mean? Put the left and the right on them. Whoops my ass. I got all red ass on them. I know that.
Yeah, two red asses up there.
Oh, dude.
So let's hear a little bit of the hunt story. But first, I did something that I forgot to do. It was introduce Ryan.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So that was totally my fault. Ryan, I'm sorry I didn't introduce you there. You were probably glad that I didn't.
Yeah.
But we're going to bring that back to you.
Okay.
So, Ryan, this is your first time on a podcast.
Yeah, first time.
And you're a biologist by trade. That's what you do for work, wildlife biologist, correct?
Yeah.
And so you spend a lot of time outdoors.
Yep, spend a lot of time outside working with private landowners. I'm a private lands biologist with the state of North Carolina.
Nice.
Super fun job. Get to work with a lot of cool people, see a lot of cool properties. It's awesome.
Nice. And did you grow up in North Carolina, or where'd you grow up at?
Yep. Yeah, grew up in born and raised Western North Carolina.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah, grew up kind of down in the foothills for most of my life, and then relocated back up to west of Asheville area in the mountains, and love it up there.
Nice, dude. I always enjoy, you'll send me Snapchats and stuff and where you live at, and it's just out there and you're just living your life, man.
Yeah, it's a beautiful holler up there. Yeah,
Easy
it's cool.
street.
Yeah. Yep. There's only one of those.
Yeah. Did you grow up hunting and fishing and stuff?
Yeah. I grew up hunting and fishing my whole life. My uncle introduced me to it, turkey hunting, and then got the turkey fever on my first hunt. Couldn't even pull the trigger, and then after that, I've been addicted. Spent a lot of money. It's just what I love to do, especially camping and hunting like this. I was fortunate enough to meet Jason there in Canton, where we lived. I was working at a brewery on a side job, making a little money, state employee. So every little bit you can get helps out.
Yeah.
And slinging beers over there, and then ended up meeting Jason there, and then. Yeah, we've done a lot of
that's where you'd meet Jason.
Yeah, at the brew house.
I just moved to town there in Canton, because I've been in Asheville for 15 years or whatever, 14. And, like right by my house was this brewery on the river, and it's a sweet spot. And I go in there, and it's like, and like, I don't know, like a lot of my buddies are like dirt bag, hippie looking dudes. And like, there's this big, tall some bitch behind the bar with he used to have a big beard and long hair, and I was like, he seems like a pretty cool guy. Like, we'd bullshit like every time I'd go up there, and then I never would have imagined he hunted, to be honest, because he always wearing Teva, kind of like me. I'm always wearing Chacos or flip flops, and we got to BS, and I thought he was like a paddle guide or something. It's what I thought. And,
got that a lot.
Yeah, and we got to BSing one day after work, I think, and just drinking some beers, and got talking about hunting. And I was like,
I saw his Timber Ninja hat on, and I saw outdoors on it, and that's kind of what sparked it. And then I looked him up, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna have to link up for sure.
We're gonna be best friends.
Yes, buddies. Yeah,
we've done a lot of hunting together.
It was great before Beau got here. Now,
he's trying to sandwich himself in between us.
Yeah. At camp and in the woods.
Listen, I stay out of the camper after 10 o'clock, right?
Yeah, Ron's being humble, too. He's a hell of a turkey hunter. He finished his public land slam this year.
Yep. Yeah. Got my public land grand slam finished up this year. I was stoked about that. So, just on to see new country now. I love it.
No, that's awesome. And that brewery is sweet. Like, I remember the first time I came to town for the Timber Ninja open house back in 23, we went down there and everything. And I think that's where I met you.
Yeah, that's the first time you met him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the first time I met you, and tried distancing myself. But
he can't do that, man. Like a leech.
Yeah, somehow it all came back.
He's like one of those
around.
old coon dogs you try to leave in the woods, and they always find their way back home.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. And Ryan's also been a huge help with us at Timber Ninja, especially when we were going through hard times and everything. You were there for everything throughout the hurricane and other floods. And even when we get backed up on orders before we had a warehouse that was shipping things, you were there helping and building saddles.
I mean, Ryan was the dude, like, when I was in Kansas and the storm was coming, he like got everything packed up as the best he could. And I got home and helped him, but like he jumped on it. And Ron's a good buddy. Good dude to have
had
on.
One good idea that day, and was like, let's put all the stuff that's important in the canoe. So when it floods, everything will be dry. It just floated up, and it did.
It actually worked. Never flipped. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, not expecting it to get to what was like 9 foot in there.
Yeah, it was 9 foot of water inside there. Yeah.
Yeah. Not expecting that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put you someone with brains too.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Every now and then,
come up with a good idea.
Yeah.
It just makes sense. But yeah, that was it was cool to get to meet you there and see you guys. Go hunting and going to different places and everything. So it was funny because I was supposed to still be in Iowa, but I'd shot a buck on day 5, and I was like, all right. I was like, my girlfriend said that I can do whatever I wanted till the 22nd, because that's when I said I was going to be home, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go somewhere else, and I was going to go to another state and go hunt by myself and probably have I felt pretty confident in having a good chance at a nice buck there. I said, or go to your deer camp with some good buddies, and I'm also going to go meet up with Josh Elderton and Zach and the Untamed guys here in a little while and hunt with them for a day and just hang out. But I was like, that sounds more fun. Like, go. Well, I had just as good of a chance to shoot a deer here too. Don't get me wrong, but it was like killing deer is cool and everything, but you can't replace the times of getting to hang out at camp. And I just every year I just learn that more. I do like solo adventures like Jason that you were talking about and doing that. There's an element to that I like, but I think most of the time I like hunting with people, not necessarily like we have to be together holding hands in the woods, but having a camp that we come back to, we share stories, we cook dinner, do that kind of deal. It's just fun.
Yeah, this is the bee's knees, man.
Yeah. Community is good for the soul.
It is.
I mean, it's also good to go out by yourself and just be in your own thoughts for multiple days. Like I need that. I have to do it a couple times a year just to maintain sanity. But it's also good to have the other side of it too, like good community. And I mean, it'd have been sketch to be up here by yourself and some of this stuff go down.
Oh man, yeah. All this stuff that's going down up here by yourself, you'd have been
That's
worried,
why, like
sleeping
on,
a little
on
bit.
the other lease, like I always would come in from the bottom. I'd always see all this traffic on that top road. It's like, man, I don't want to camp up there.
On these outlaw trails up here.
Yeah, and I've never slept here. I drive a good ways every morning I only hunted here one morning, so it really wasn't that big of a deal. But I drive a longer time to do it, and it helps just having other people around to be able to do that. But the hunt was, I mean, pretty much everything we could have asked for from the standpoint of like, I mean, right from the get-go, you guys were into deer, right? 'Cause you were here before me.
Yeah, we hit it on the nail. I mean, we've seen chasing, grunting, very vocal deer out here.
Yeah,
from what we've seen. So
yeah. Well, the plan was Ryan and I were already planning to hunt a piece of public that I've been hunting for a few years, and then this deal came up, and we just jumped on it and secured the property. And we're like, well, we got Plan B if the public doesn't work. And I went and in October, and I set out like 6 cameras, which is something I've really never done there. And like we were just tuned in because Ryan and I hunted it last year together, and around Thanksgiving had some good encounters. And when I was here in October, I just noticed there wasn't many acorns and where we were, but I was like, well, there's still deer there, and we'll see what the cameras say. But we left Thursday afternoon, got to camp Thursday night around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, got camp set up, and then we went out and pulled old Johnny, went out and checking some cameras
in the dark.
And the ones we got to that night, I probably didn't turn one on. Let's be honest.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Well, I was
getting ready to check him on.
Yeah,
those.
I can't see that good anymore, man. And that one, like the day I put it out, I was like looking at it, and holding it back, and I was like, God dang! And I kept putting it closer, and I ended up getting my phone and like zooming in on it. It was a camera I'd never used before. It was one of Ryan's, and so that one possibly didn't get turned on. Okay, but it was weird though because I had checked that camera before I left and had a big 10 point on there. And I think what I did wrong is I just put the SD card in, and even just, I don't know if all cameras work this way, but just for rule of thumb, I usually turn them off and then turn them back on.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't do that. And because some of them will not work unless you like reset it, essentially, right?
Well, I don't ever pop the SD card out unless the camera's off.
Oh.
Yeah, you shouldn't do, like if you put one in a computer and you're supposed to hit eject first.
Gotcha.
That's kind of the deal. I don't know, that's just how I
that's a good
sense.
Process. Yeah. I mean, it just shows you how little I run trail cameras.
Yeah, no, you're not a big trail camera guy.
We just went to Walmart and bought like the cheapest SD cameras we could get, a couple a piece, and was like, let's try it.
Yeah. But so that one, let's call it, didn't get turned on. The other one we would check that night, somebody had stole the SD card, and then those were semi-close. The other ones were deeper, and so we were just like, hey, let's wake up in the morning, go hit these other cameras, just check everything out, and if nothing's happening here, let's roll and go to this other place. And so we got up that morning and we went into this like sweet spot. Like I had 2 cameras in there, just dynamite, and they were dead. Well, one of those didn't work. Another one had nothing on it. And we went deeper in there and just scouting around. I mean, I'm talking like some sweet thermal hubs, just like there had been some old sign in there, like just look bucky, And we saw 2 scrapes, couple rubs.
Yep.
And then on the way back out of that holler, we noticed this big rub up on a point and went up there, and he had a really nice rubber line and a big scrape there, and it just set up, and that looked good, but there wasn't any acorns in there.
No, yeah, I mean, that I would have went back if we'd have stayed there. I would have went in there.
Yeah.
And hunted. But
yeah, and then we went and checked some other cameras, and cards were gone, but some areas that I had history with that knew were like, big bucks use, and I've encountered them there, and I've seen their sign. There was no sign in those spots, man, and we went to a spot that Ryan and I hunted last year that was on that piece, and that camera was working, and just nothing good on camera, no good sign. And we got back to camp, we're just like, well, all right, I think we should probably go. And we talked to some people that were at camp, and they're like, man, it's been slow this year. There's no acorns. There's like not seeing much sign. So Ryan and I just packed up and hauled butt here.
Yeah. So you make the call.
Yeah.
You load her up and ride out.
Yeah. So we got here that afternoon and set up camp. And
yeah, you actually called me. You're like, you guys coming down? You coming down? You're like, we're going to go. I'm like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Southern boy had to put a puffy jacket on.
Yeah, that wind was cutting through me, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a little chilly.
Cooler now than it was.
But we've
morning.
had great weather. We've had a little bit of moisture. We had that one day we sat in the rain for a little while.
I wouldn't say great weather. I'd say better than we expected.
Yeah.
Yes, better than we expected. I mean, it's pretty good, though. I mean, we had – if every day would have been like Monday, it would have been splitter,
Well, yeah. I mean, at least it hasn't been in the 70s. Like
or
that's
or in the single digits.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be in the tree.
I've done it, and it works. I mean, but it's the rut. Anything can kind of happen. And if you don't have, like, in my opinion, if you don't have that way out of average, if you're 10 degrees out of average, you're okay. But when you get in that 20 degree out of average, I think that's when you really start seeing a difference in movement. Mm-hmm. You ever pay attention to that? Like,
you mean like if there's like a real shock and even low or high, it might slow it down for a minute.
You can look at temperature and see what an average temperature is, for that time of year. And I've noticed, like, as long as you're 5 to 10 degrees up or down, like, you're going to have good, consistent movement. If you're 20 degrees either way, like, it seems like it really locks them down. And that's even, we were talking about this with Nathan about when it gets real cold, like how deer will just shut down for a day or two, know? And I think it's like, it's at 20 degrees low or 20 degrees high can really throw them off. And we were kind of in a pretty good little bubble, even though it wasn't like 20 I like at 28 degrees, 32 degrees.
Yeah, I love frosty mornings, and then get to like 40 during the day or so. Like that's, to me, killer rut weather. Which we had the first couple mornings were cold, below freezing. That we were here, but you guys were seeing bucks right off the bat.
I've seen bucks every morning I've hunted. Mm-hmm. I haven't had a morning I didn't see bucks. And most were multiple. I saw multiple bucks. Now, granted, some of them were the same deer. But I mean, the evenings have been dead for me. And I think Ryan was the only one that really had good action in the evening.
Yeah, the first evening sit, it was hot. 8 or 9 does, several really nice 2.5-year-old 10-pointers. A lot of potential in those guys. Dog and a doe, several spikes. And I think the next evening I sat in there, I didn't see anything the next evening. But as expected in the rut, wherever that hot doe's at, that's where they're going to be. And she was not in there that next evening. Sat in there all day. The old morning was fire, and then I'm like, I'm staying here all day. 2 sits in a row. It's been nothing but good, and then it was just dead. It's like, that happens.
Yeah. No, and that rut's hot and cold in different places, but
I mean, the first morning, first deer I saw was a really nice 3-year-old buck. And I mean, I decided to pass him. On public, he wouldn't have not gotten past. I would have shot him.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, it was, it's a good vibe, when you pick up a new piece of property and you come in and scout it and out of the gate just start seeing deer.
Yeah. We were in the game as soon as we got here.
Yeah.
All right, we're good.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's awesome to be able to see. It's funny. you guys have been in the action, and I have not been since I've been here. I had one morning when I came over and joined in on Ryan's party of where he was having a bunch of action going on, and I saw that real magnum 10-point out at a distance. But that's the only. I think that was the only buck I've seen here.
You saw that one. You saw that one down on the road.
I did, yeah. I was riding the Quiet Cat, and a buck that you later had an encounter with.
Yeah,
but.
I like how you set that up. You know, like Ron and I went and scouted. Ron had his spot, and then I had my spot, and you just kind of got yourself in the middle of us.
Yeah. Both of them right in the middle.
He's an opportunist.
I said
we gave him permission.
Yeah,
he was like, it's cool, Beau.
I said, listen, where can I go? I'm not in your guys' way. And you're like, I don't know, to pick a spot. And I was like, does this work? And you're like, yeah. I said, okay.
Well, I mean, we were trying to get the deer killed. I mean, because we, kind of go into that story a little bit. Ron and I checked this spot, and just a sweet how it laid. You had some cattle pasture across the line. You had a knoll that came out with some like mixture of pine and some oaks in that point, and they just cut around, and right on that flat around that cut that we just found this like giant rub and a big scrape. And then he had another rub where he's coming, because what I figured that buck was doing was just cutting around that point when he was coming around. So Ron and I put a cam on that, and then we checked it the next day, and there was a really nice 4 or 5 year old 8-point, probably like 22 inches wide. He didn't have a really good, long tine link. He had good mass, but his right side was cool. It was almost like it had like a turkey foot in a way, with another little point coming out too.
So he was actually like a 9-point, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was technically a 9-point.
Yeah.
So we just went there and tried to sandwich them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's another thing I like about hunting like this, is you can get strategic with it. We can go in. Nobody here is selfish. We want to see somebody kill a buck. So if we find the sign, let's go in and just surround
someone's
him.
having hot action, like everyone jump in it.
Yeah, let's kill him.
Well, in that buck, we checked that camera, and in 2 days he daylighted. The first day we put the camera out, he came through at like 4:30 in the afternoon. And then the next morning he came through at 7:30, and I was like, well, that's a killable buck. We got to do what we got to do. And it was funny. I went in there and hunted it in the afternoon. It was hot that day, and I saw some does. I didn't see any bucks then in that afternoon. And then we went in. Ryan hunted that morning over there, because you and I moved and went over to this other spot where I've been seeing a good number of bucks. And Ryan was riding your Quiet Cat back, and it looked up the hill, on that knob, and like saw this giant frame chocolate horn buck sitting up there, and he just like Pee Wee Herman just kept on going.
I stopped for a second to look and make sure, double check what I was seeing was right, and then I was like, okay, I'm out of here.
And then he come back camp that night and told us about that. And he's like, I saw that buck, and he was like, he's dark horn. I was like, that deer's not dark horn. That deer's like lighter horn deer. Yeah. And so we went back in there and hunted him. And that morning, it was yesterday. Yeah. So I set up in this spot a little bit higher than what I was the first time I hunted it, because I just found where the trails were all kind of merging around that point, and I was like, this is gonna, and it was thick. I mean, the thing about here is these pines are about the biggest tree you can get in. And you only get 2 or 3 sticks high, and there's just branches everywhere, and you got to cut yourself out. And it's just thick in there. And shooting a trad bow, I like it tight anyway. So I guess that morning, like, I was just feeling good about that morning. Like, I told you I hunted it that evening, and I saw some does. Did I see a buck that afternoon? I can't remember. But I told you, I said, if he shows up, I said, I'm going to see him tomorrow. And he's going to be in range. And sure enough, so the morning started off. He started getting light, and I saw a buck coming through from the below me, and I just intentionally wouldn't grab my bow, because I thought it was him. And I looked, and I was like, it's a smaller 8. He came up, went right past me. I could have shot him. And then I was sitting there, and it was kind of drizzly still that morning.
Yeah, it was.
And I was sitting there, and I just kind of like dazing and looking around, and all of a sudden, it's caught movement out of the left of my eye, and I see him coming off the hill. He starts hitting a rub, and I was like, oh, there he is. And like he was just a big deer, this, not like high scoring deer, just a big old bruiser,
Yep.
And I get my bow, and I was like, where's my dang grunt call? Like, I couldn't figure out where I had it. And it wasn't in my pocket on my hand warmer where it's supposed to be and what I made a pocket for. And I'm looking around. He's down there rubbing. He's like probably 35 yards, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd have been a chip shot with a compound, honestly. Like, he was perfectly broadside and everything. And then I finally found my grunt tube in my backpack on the top. And I let out a grunt. He stopped and just looked up the hill, and I was like, oh, okay. And I thought what he was going to do was just come straight up, because the wind was going down to him, kind of cutting him in a little bit, so he wasn't going to catch my wind, and I just thought he'd come straight up that hill.
Yeah.
And he went back to rubbing, and then I snort wheezed at him with my mouth, and he threw his head up again, and this time, he just, like, backed up, how they do, and just swung around, and I was like, here he comes. Yeah. And I don't know, and I've talked to you about this before, I don't get really excited at that point. I just kind of go focused on it. And he's coming, and I was like, he's going to be 5 yards, in this hole that I, trimmed out the day before. And I'll be dang if he didn't cut up a little bit. And he was coming through this stuff, and it was thick, and I found this one hole, and I was like, I got to take this shot. He was 15, 18 yards, and I drew back, and it was just tight, and, yeah, it didn't work out for me.
Hit a limb, right?
Yeah, hit a limb.
That's what we've been. That's what we were told.
That's what we.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter limb or anything you missed. And I will be honest, the thing about shooting a traditional bow is you got to be really confident in your head to shoot good and to pull off a shot. And I was thinking about it because how you miss, you always think about what goes on.
Yeah.
And because I had to shoot through brush, but it wasn't real thick brush.
Yeah.
And I knew the arrow would go through, and but I think I was already psyched out because it wasn't where I wanted that shot to go off.
Yep.
And I just
because you visualized it so much.
I'd visualized it. I had 3 holes that I knew I could shoot that he was going to be sub 10 yards.
Yeah, you literally said it to me the night before. You're like, it's tight, but I feel good. If he comes to one of these spots, I'm getting a shot.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I was nervous about was, honestly, and it's a hard shot to pull off without doing it, is I was nervous I was going to spine him because how I thought he was going to come.
Yeah.
And because, you try to cut past that spine to get down into but sometimes, you hit it. And that's what I'd been visualizing, thinking about. It's these spots, and he, what bucks do, he went out of the way, but he didn't even move. He just kept, stopped and just went on walking, and he rubbed again, and then I snort wheezed at him again. He looked down, and then he just kind of went the way I thought he was going to be going anyway. Mm-hmm. And so, and I wasn't that bummed about it, heck, if you miss as many deer as I've missed, in my life.
Yeah.
You get used to it, And also, it's for me, I really like having those encounters.
That's what it's about, the encounter.
Yeah, and it's we talked about this on the last podcast. When you kill one, sometimes you kind of feel like you wish you could throw it back like a bass or something.
Yeah.
But we all want to kill the deer. I'm not saying I'm glad I missed because he can go live on and be another one. Whatever.
Need another year anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll take the shit. I mean, like I told y'all yesterday, I'm my biggest critic. But then he went on about his business, and I was like, oh, well, there's my opportunity. Because, you usually get one good opportunity a trip, right? And I'm sitting there, pissed off a little bit and well, the hunt's over for this guy. Because I really still hadn't registered that Ryan saw this other buck. I was like, well, Ryan, nobody's talking about. I mean, he should. He's a biologist, right? But the horn color and everything, I was like, because he was like, well, he was up in the pines, could have made his horns darker. Well, I'm sitting there, and I'm like, it's calm as all get out. So I was trying to check my thermals, and my fingers were wet, and I was flicking my fingers trying to get milkweed off. Yeah. And I look about 25, 30 yards, and I see this giant frame chocolate horn deer staring at me. I was like, oh shit! And he just knew something was off. He didn't know what I was because I had so much cover, but he just saw some movement he didn't like, and he just kind of did that, his head back and forth.
Yeah.
And I just see this big mainframe 10, this dark chocolate big body deer, and then he turns he's going to start coming, and then he turns going up the hill a little bit more, and I snort wheeze, and he stops and looks, and he just kind of keeps on about his business, and that's when he circled back to you.
Yeah. So how I was set up, like I said, between Jason and Ryan, but I was down off of that point, down on a bench that met where it hit a valley fill. So, and it was just a lot of things funneled to that location, and it was great. I saw so many trails that were crossing there, rubs, scrapes, and I was like, man, I don't know. It just seems like this should be the spot I need to be in. It was beautiful. Just like the location, it was just, I don't know, fun to hunt it. And I was there, and all of a sudden I'm looking. There's some does came in from coming up from down your way, and I actually grunted them in because I just saw the bodies at first, and I grunted, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, here it comes, and I'm like, it's a doe, and then a little one with it, and they came right in to about 16 yards, and then a couple times, like, I was pretty tucked in, but if they got right beside me, I was a little bit, sticking out, but I'm like up against the tree as hard as I can. I'm holding my bow in my hand. Like, I do the same thing. I grab it no matter what, because you just don't know what's going to happen. And they're kind of looking at me, but weren't sure, and they just went back to their business and worked off. And I was watching them up on the hillside heading up towards you, and all of a sudden I caught a white patch in the thicket down below them on the hill. And I'm like, that's a deer looking at me. I pull up my binos, and there's that big dark horn 10-point. But he's facing back towards the direction that you were. And later I found out after talking to you that he came from you first and came down there. And then I grunted at him, and he went into the thicket, and I heard him making a scrape and like just getting kind of worked up. Don't know where he went from there. I didn't see him come out the top. I can't see if he went down the other way.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's been, in that thicket, being that close to that location where he was at.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Probably just laid down, and then we ended up having to leave.
Walk right by him.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I think if we'd have had another day, I don't think that either of those deer were spooked. I think we would have
even the rest of the day, because they were moving so much. We were planning on sitting all day.
Yeah.
And then Ryan, you were down below me on a bench in the Valleyville, kind of in a bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been watching deer down there for a few days, and you're worried about the wind.
Yeah, because I hate getting in there, and I didn't want to blow it out. It looked like a great spot, so I kind of stayed up on the second bench, just watching it down in there. And I sat in there, I think 4 or 5 sits in that tree, watching down in there. And I was like, man, it's time. I got to dive off in there and just do it. Forget the wind, just bomb off in there, and hopefully one chases through there and gives me a shot.
Yeah.
And I did. I dove off in there and had several deer, several bucks. Read the script perfect. Do exactly what I was wanting them to do. Gave me a perfect shot, but not the one that I was after in there. And then, unfortunately, we had to pull anchors.
Yeah, that's when we got the text from Jason that we had to go at that point.
Like, I finally dove off in here to make it happen, and now I got to come out.
Yeah.
Oh, we also had the tree stand incident.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the spot that I had found that I wanted to hunt, and ended up this dude had a stand in there. He was like, just hunt that stand. I was like, sure. I'll go sit in a lock on, just get up there and clip in the saddle, and you got a rope already and a bow hanger, and it's already like brushed out. And I'll go sit that. And, cause it just looked so good. I mean, it's a sweet spot, man. There's so much sun in there. And that was that Monday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And we, cause you went over onto your other property that day. Cause that was the first morning you got here. The first morning.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And, man, it was just like the beautiful start to the morning. It was like sunny and blue skies and cold and frosty. And I'm sitting in the stand, and just immediately action. Like I don't think, what was it, 1 or 2 bucks come through, smaller bucks, walked perfect, set up, does. And then I saw that one of that 9-point that you have on your lease. I saw him cut across at like 60 yards.
Yeah, he's a hammer. He's a hammer. Number 1 buck that I wanted to shoot. I'm in there sitting for him, thinking I got a good chance, and you're like, "Oh, he's over here." I'm like, "All right."
And so like the action kind of slowed down for a minute, and I hadn't did my first morning pee yet from the stand, and I was like, I got to pee before it like kicks off. So I thought it was going to be one of those days,
Yeah.
And dude, I stand up to take to relieve myself. And as soon as I stand up, I hear pop, and the platform drops on one side. Cable snapped on that thing, and I like immediately sit down, and I'm like, oh shit. And like it surprised me, but like rock climbing and stuff, I've taken falls, so like I knew my equipment was going to catch me, so I wasn't really that wigged out, but it definitely got your attention, right? And I'm like, well, hopefully this seat's good because I'm just going to sit on this seat and kind of figure out what I can do because it was kind of like you had to like climb up into it from the last step. So like you relied a lot on that platform. And I was like, all right, what can I do here to get down? Like I was going through like my rescue protocol of how I was going to get out without having y'all come and get me because I wouldn't be able to live that up.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Yeah. Come rescue me out of the tree.
Pop-all stuck.
We got to go help Dad get out of the tree again. So I was like, all right, I could take my lineman's belt and wrap it around the platform and then clip the other side into the ratchet strap with the Kong and pull it tight. And I know that's not going to, break. So I'm sitting there thinking about that. And I'm trying to be still because it wasn't very windy. It was kind of a calm morning.
Yeah.
And so I'm like one hand and also not trying to put pressure on the platform. Got one hand down there trying to loop the eye around the platform so I could girth hitch it. And while I'm doing that, I hear behind me, and I look over my shoulder at 20 yards, this big 8 that you had on camera the night before that we were looking at. We're like, man, that's a sweet deer, like real tall. I mean, he wasn't like a 6-year-old deer, but like he was just real tall.
He was a stud 4-year-old.
Stud 4-year-old, man. And I was like, and that side, I had to stand to shoot that right side. And I'm like, oh, shit, are you kidding me, man? And like, he like walks over and he stops at like 15 yards and just like doesn't have a clue I'm there. Goes down and starts drinking out of this rock. There's like a rock with some water right there. And he was just drinking from there. It like stood there at like 22 yards for like a minute or two. And I was like, geez. And I'm sitting here like, can't do anything. And like, I mean, Ryan, you were like, just risk it. You should have just stood up.
Risk it for the biscuit, dude.
Yeah.
You had your tether tied off to the tree.
Yeah.
If you'd have fell, you'd have been good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I thought about it too. I was like, that one cable, hopefully it's still good. I could try this. But
I agree with what you did, Jason.
Yeah, me too, man. I don't want to get hurt. I mean, because I assessed the situation if I was to fall. Like, I didn't want to fall down into those branches, man, because it'll kick your feet up. And like this dude had some screw-in steps at the top, to get up higher than the ladder stick he had. And I didn't want to fall on a screw-in step like that.
Those cables are like kidneys, man. You only need one of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that was a rodeo in itself. But, I mean, it was a great morning of hunting, though. I don't think I saw anything after that. I think it was the last buck I saw that morning.
Yeah. You only saw, the big 5-year-old 9 and then that 4-year-old 8.
Yeah.
No, you had a heck of a
I saw 4 bucks
there.
over 4 years or older.
That's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's been one of my most action-packed like rut trips since probably Iowa.
Yeah.
In 21.
That's phenomenal. It's funny. So when I got here, I had kind of a predetermined plan of where I wanted to go. But this property, the other lease that I had, starting last year, I knew of some spots. I scouted it in the spring, but like no matter what, it still takes me like 3 years to really learn something, figure out how the deer are moving through. So I wasn't extremely confident in any of the spots to be in. I was just kind of like, all right, I'm gonna play it and figure it out. And that first morning I busted a deer when I was climbing up, and I was like, man, and I didn't see anything the rest of the morning other than that grouse that just sat there and drummed in front of me all morning, which that was cool.
Oh yeah.
Sure. And then I went to go check a couple cameras and blew out some more deer. I was doing that. I just felt like everything wasn't work. I went into it 100% confidence I was going to shoot something that morning. I was like, I've had a horseshoe up my ass all season.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's just going to keep rolling. Yeah. By 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm like, man, I'm not killing on this trip. But it's funny. So I just kept going around, and I had another spot that I figured was better for the evening. It was lower in the mountain, thermals dropping, a nice pinch that was going in there, does bedding there, and I sat on the ground. I actually put the kunai on a tree and used it as a seat. I put my Fanatic vest over it to give me some padding, and I just sat on it. And I had a doe come up from below. She was actually bedded way down in the timber and come up past me, but that's all I had seen in that particular spot. But this trip, I bounced around a lot more than I typically do, but I feel like that's what I do when I'm trying to learn something. Yeah. It's hard because most of my success comes from and during the rut of sitting in a spot day after day after day, knowing that it's going to be slow most of the time, but you got to be there in a good funnel. But when you don't have the full-on confidence in it yet, it's hard to do that. And I didn't want to waste a trip of, not saying it's a wasted trip, but sitting in a spot that wasn't, a deer was never going to come through, at that time of year. So I bounced around a lot. There's definitely some things I've learned from that. And that property is more timber. There's a little bit of strip that's involved there. But I actually think I might give some of the timber spots more love next time. I'm interested. I got some cameras soaking, but I think even yesterday when I went in for an evening sit, I was right on the edge of it, and I had some deer blowing at me down lower in the timber. And I think for the evenings, especially when you got thermals pulling down and stuff, there's acorns down in there. It's like, I think they're dropping down a little bit lower at that time.
Well, this stuff is kind of interesting. Like, I've been thinking about it while I've been here. Like, it's pretty manufactured, right? Like the mountains have been cut up. So, like, the deer use it a little different than they do terrain at home. And, like, those timbers, they're like, there's, like, spines that run through, and then there's, like, these points. And I think those points are crucial. Like, you can set up on those, and it's like, Ron and I were talking about this the other day, like, the amount of bucks we've seen, like, I don't think in some of those areas you're necessarily going to find buck signs sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean they're not coming through. And that makes it hard to, like, invest in that unless you have history of being like, this is what they do. They don't leave as much sign. Like, because a lot of those areas we found a lot of buck sign, but it was more in, like, some of the timbered spots, not that, like, open area.
Yeah, I hunted the timber the first morning here, and I saw one doe, but no, there wasn't, scrapes and rubs in the timber. All the scrapes and rubs I've been finding have been on that edge of the scrub brush, pine stuff, and then, and that's where the doe was. She was running that edge over there. And then I went to hunt the timber last night, dived off in a spot blind to check it out, and got in there and didn't see I just assumed it was just going to be loaded in rubs and scrapes on that edge right there, and it was dried up. There was nothing. And I was like, well, I'm here. I'm going to hang anyways. So got busted by a bear. Bear come through. I was sitting there climbing up and saw it on a limb to get it out of the way, and I hear something running. I look, and a little black blob running away from me in the woods.
I'd imagine you were pretty loud sawing that limb. I've heard you saw limbs before.
I cracked a big one off that pine tree that morning.
I was pretty sure you fell. I was like, well, there goes Ryan.
It had to go, man. It had to go. It's a crucial spot. I needed to shoot that lane.
It'll be interesting to see how this place plays out after we learn it a little bit better, like... because it's pretty scenery, man. Like, it's just very different than what we're used to. So I'm looking forward to learning more about it. Like, I'm coming back up next week actually for gun season with my son. So I'm gonna scout. We put some cameras out.
Well, so last night I was going. So earlier in the trip, I skipped one part where my buddy Gary had a traditional camera on this bench that was above one where I had been hunting, and it was kind of in between two spots I was hunting. And he's like, hey, I put this camera up last time I was in there. Why don't you go check it to see? I went up, and it wasn't working. And there's 0 pictures out of 0, which meant that the SD card wasn't in there correctly. So I was like, all right. I set it up, but the scrape was all tore up in front of it. And it was like, I'm like, man, this kind of does make sense, because I was getting bucks on this one camera, and at night coming up out of the timber, and then you were seeing them, Jason, on the other property. I was like, this is in between how they're kind of moving through there. And so yesterday I was going to set up, and I had this tree picked. I got there, and it was going to need some cutting to get in it, this pine. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to hunt on the ground. I'm going to scout. I'm going to still hunt. It was quiet, wet leaves. I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And I went up, and I went to that camera again, and I checked it. And every day since I reset it, there had been bucks on it moving morning and evening, and I'm like, dude, this is it. So I went up and I looked around, and I couldn't find a good tree to get in, but I was like, the side hill's pretty steep. I was like, and there was like a bunch of like greenbrier that was overgrown. I'm like, I'll just tuck right into that and sit on this hillside. And it was 20 yards to the I couldn't shoot to the scrape because it was too thick, but I had openings on either side of it, and a trail that I would imagine is a buck trail. I walked up there, and there's all these big rubs. I think they bed up there sometimes, but right along just over the edge coming through, and I was like, I can shoot to that at like 12 yards. There was a blowdown that funneled them around right there and down to there. It just felt good. And I didn't see anything yesterday evening, but this morning, so I said that's what I'm going to go back to. And Jason gave me his seat.
Crazy Creek.
Crazy Creek seat. Yeah. Man, that thing is sick for hunting on the ground on a side hill.
That's what I killed that buck in Virginia the other week in my Crazy Creek chair.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, it was really cool because like in that spot, like I could have put the kunai as a seat on it, but I would have stuck out too much. I really wanted to tuck into that bush and be on the ground, but it was hard being on that hillside. You're digging your feet in, and it's just you're sliding a lot. Mm-hmm. So that made it really nice. And I could not believe I didn't see a deer this morning. Like it just felt like one's gonna come cruising down through there, and it just it didn't happen for me. So where I'm at, I don't have. It's so thick with the pines, I can't get the satellite texting to have. Well, I had my inReach with me for a backup for emergency, but you guys didn't have one. You guys had radios that you could talk to each other if you needed to check in.
Yeah, the radios are nice.
Yeah, and because there's no service, obviously, so you'd have predetermined times to check in or whatever. But so I couldn't have in contact with you, and about a little after 11, I got out and I was going to go replace batteries in this camera and work my way out. We decided at noon we were going to be done, and I get to the top and I'm up in the open, and I put my phone up and I get a message from you, small 8 and a couple does, and obviously I didn't answer because I didn't get it. And then I get another one comes through at like 10:19. It's like BBD. I was like, oh my God. It's like, where are you? And I can't get it to send. I'm like walking around. I'm like, doing that. I'm like, well, I'm really only like 400 yards away. So I'm just going to go find out. So I just, I run down there and I'm looking around. I'm like, the truck's gone. And then at that time your message came through that you were at camp. Mm-hmm. So I, jumped in my truck and just came back here, and you killed a beautiful buck today.
Yeah, I killed a nice mature deer. I got a great rack on him, but he was a mature deer, big body, older deer, and I'm happy with that. It happened perfect. Saw a really good 2.5-year-old. I couldn't tell if he was an 8 or a 9, but he was actually bigger at rack than the buck that I shot this morning. But you could tell he was a younger deer. So let him go, saw some does, and then had radioed Jason, and he told me that he had some chaos over there this morning, and so we were kind of I was planning on getting down at like 11 and probably going over there to help him out. And then I don't know, it's probably like 10:15, 10:20. I can't remember exactly what time I shot him. I just caught a glimpse of a big body deer coming in at like my 1 o'clock, and I was hanging in one of those presets from our buddy that we met.
Yeah.
And I haven't hunted out of a hang on forever, and the cables, I was hanging in my saddle from the tree, and when I went to go over my tether with my bow, I went to pivot, and my foot was pinned in between the cable and the in the base of the stand, right? And so I had to get all the way around to shoot it like my 4. And I finally get turned around there, and the buck is staring right at me, and I'm like, it's 15 yards. I'm like, it's now or never. Just do it.
Yep.
And I pulled back, and he watched me pull back and everything. I was like, there's no way he's getting ready to bolt. Like, I'm just I don't know how, but he didn't. He just put his head back down and just started walking like he did, like nothing was wrong. And I was like, all right. And I just hit him in stride perfect and watched him pile up at like 40 yards from me.
Oh man, that's awesome. And when they're in that mood, he might have just been in a mood looking for does and just is a little bit foggy.
Yeah, he was swolled up. Neck was huge. And yeah.
Yeah, because I heard him shoot because like we weren't that far from each other.
No, you guys tag teamed that area.
Yeah.
And I heard him shoot, and I was like, that was a shot, and I was like, that sounded like a good shot. And then I heard the deer go down, and I immediately turned my radio on, and I was like, Red Wolf, you there?
Yeah, we got code names on the radios. I'm Red Wolf. This is duck meat.
Of course you guys do.
And he didn't answer, and I was like, man, I'm sure that was a shot. And then like maybe a minute later, he's like, hey, you there? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, big buck down, baby. And, and I was like, yeah, I know. So I was like, well, I'm gonna get down. We'll come over there, and I'll walk over to you, and we'll get him taken care of.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Man.
Yeah, last morning got it done. Day 7, we've been grinding, so it was felt good to get one down. Yeah,
definitely. First one in the new to be named lease.
Yeah, first buck down. I've had a horseshoe up my butt this year as well. So I'm hopefully keep that ball rolling back to North Carolina. I think it's muzzleloader season right now.
Yeah.
In the mountains, we'll have a couple of days of muzzleloader left, and then rifle will kick in, and then we should be hitting the rut pretty good by the time we get back. That first week of December usually pretty good.
Yeah, I like I like the first week of December. I mean, I killed that buck a couple years ago on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'd say right. Yeah,
it was Thanksgiving Day, but normally for me it's usually later in December. But yeah, like that time frame, we'll be coming right back into it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna come back up here. I think it still should be good up here. I'm gonna bring Jack. Because he hasn't killed a rack buck yet, and I think there's a lot of 2.5-year-olds running around. That would be great first deer for him.
Mm-hmm. When I was from running cameras last year, I put them out in November. So I was like middle of November, about this time I put them out last year, and that Thanksgiving time frame through the first few days of December seemed like there was good cruising action going on, especially in the timber too. I don't know if the acorns, they're just like some of the stuff that was green up high isn't green anymore, but there was a lot of good action in the timber. And also later on, like end of December, the season goes out January 1st or December 31st, but in that last week there was good action. So I kind of have that in my back pocket. I've been thinking about coming back down, and I'm not entirely sure yet. I kind of want to. I'm ready to get the gun out, which I know there is the gun season to be able to do that. But I think I don't know. I'm thinking about doing something else to get the rifle out or muzzleloader.
Yeah, I got the rifle out this year on that bear hunt, and it felt good to tote that thing around in the woods and heard that 30-06 crack one. That felt good.
Yeah, yeah, nice. I mean, I really enjoy gun hunting, man. I mean, I went through a period where it's like, bow only and all that stuff, but I do. I mean, it's kind of like the lease thing. Like it can be a little relaxing, like we talked about this, I think, also with Nathan. It's like towards the end of the year, you get tired of setting up your sets every day and breaking them down. And it's like you just kind of want to be lazy, I guess. And, and I'm not saying gun hunting is lazy. It's still hard hunting the mountains, but, it takes a little bit of stress out, especially like ground hunting. Because that's all I do usually is just ground hunt with a gun. And, it's nice.
It's fun.
Smelling that powder burn.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it should be... It should be good. I still, at the time that we're recording this, I still got another day of hunting yet. I'm going to hunt with Josh and those guys tomorrow and then head home after that. But so who knows? There's still a chance that might end up shooting a buck, and if I don't, that's fine too.
Yeah. Just the experience is what it's about.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm excited to meet the Untamed boys.
You'll enjoy them. They're always a good time.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We're going to have a steak dinner tonight on Timber Ninja.
Well, we've had steak dinners like 3 times this week.
Oh, dude, we've eaten like
we've had moose steaks, elk steaks.
Yeah, we had moose steaks, elk steaks, tamales, and
the potatoes were clutch.
Yeah, chicken tortilla soup and
some habanero chili.
Yeah. I was making these. I always like to make especially for camp like this, make some pre-made meals. Mm-hmm. So I made like the chicken tortilla soup that would feed us for a night or two, and then I made some chili, and I was just like, it was a last minute like bear chili. Brian brought some bear over. And it was like, I got to get this done. And like, I drank some couple beers, and I was sitting there just like hanging out and was BSing with Ryan and his girlfriend. And I was like tapping on the habanero, and I just wasn't paying attention and tapped too much in there. And I was like, this is going to be hot. And And
That's I grew them habaneros. They're really hot.
Yeah.
Dried them out and ground them up and gave him a jar. And I was like, be careful with this.
Yeah.
It's hot, dude. This
My
is
stomach
concentrate.
that next day.
Yeah, it was roaring.
My outlet that morning.
Yeah,
It was like taking a flamethrower and
yeah,
coming out your ass.
yeah,
To the tree. Let's go.
yeah.
Yeah. No, it's been good. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, hopefully we can get some things worked out so it is a little more relaxing on that front.
Yeah.
But, and the thing is, like, and I would hope everyone thinks this way, whether they have a lease or not. Like, when you come into an area that there are people that live in the area and that have hunted their whole life, you got to be respectful. And that's what we want to do is be neighborly.
Absolutely.
With everyone. So.
Yeah, we don't want to piss them off and then come back and our tires are slashed, you know?
Yeah, and just overall just be respectful. And it was, like I said, everyone we talked to, it was really refreshing to hear that, everyone's really trying to grow big deer here, and like everybody's kind of on the same, quote unquote management plan. And it's kind of fun to have that ability. You don't have that on public.
Yeah.
So it's a fun change of pace.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. And, being able to rip the Quiet Cat around or the 4-wheeler or whatever.
Yeah, that's another thing that I've really enjoyed about being on a lease. I've always hunted, national forest, public lands. You're not allowed to have those things. So I've always been like, the people are bringing those bikes in here and getting in here. I'm hiking, 5 miles to get in somewhere, and then somebody undercuts me on an e-bike on the national forest, and I'm like, "Urgh." And then Beau's lets me borrow his Quiet Cat for one of the hunts this week, and I was like, dude, this is sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I had to make some repairs to it. The fender fell off and the seat fell off.
Yeah,
so a little duct tape fixed that out.
Duct tape fix everything.
Oh, yeah. They take a beating. All right. Well, we're going to finish packing up camp here and everything and get ready to head out and take our showers, which are very necessary. And have a good dinner tonight. But I appreciate you guys inviting me to come share camp and everything, and getting to hang out as always. So we'll be doing more of it.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to the next time.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks everyone for listening. Hey guys, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this conversation, share it with your buddies. Leave us a rating, a review, and subscribe. If you want to check out more content like this, there's plenty in the links below. We truly appreciate having you guys along with us.